Crack! The ancient Lomok skull splintered, exploded into fragments as the human brought it down on the podium like a club. Razor shards of alien bone shrapnel ricocheted across the stunned Galactic Council, the message unspoken but clear: do not fuck with humanity. Despite his grey business suit, 35-year-old Terran diplomat Randy Bell had arrived on Zephyrus Prime, ready for a fight. Just an hour ago, Randy's transport docked with the gleaming Galactic Council citadel, humanity eager to make first contact after their warp drives broke the lightspeed barrier. He was greeted by Jackson, a towering Iridian with slick blue skin and 4 serpentine arms. As the Council's protocol chief, he was here to welcome the galaxy's newest member. "The Council awaits, follow me." Jackson's voice clicks and pops, gesturing an arm dramatically. "Are those guards with you?" Randy eyes a pair of hulking crab-like clithraks flanking the chief, serrated spears in sharp claws. "Just a precaution for new species. No insult intended." Randy cautiously follows Jackson down the prismatic corridors and into the cathedral-like council chamber. Over 100 strange Xenos peer from the tiered seats, raptor avians, towering tripods, pulsing sacks of gas. Their cacophony of tongues and clicks goes silent as Randy strides to the central podium. He clears his throat below a glowing emblem of the Galactic Council. "I am diplomat Randy Bell of Terra. On behalf of humanity, we come seeking—" The human is cut off by a booming roar from the upper seats. A hulking scaled alien, eyes like pits of lava, rises and snarls. "Humanity? You mean the Deathworlders? Your violent history precedes you, human," the beast growls, rows of fangs dripping with malice. "Your kind brings only chaos and destruction. Is that what you offer the Council?" Shocked gasps and uneasy murmurs ripple through the Xeno dignitaries. Randy locks eyes with the accuser, realizing in this moment his people's fate in the stars hinges on this first impression. The survival, or extermination, of the human race could depend on dispelling these dangerous misconceptions right here today. The murmurs rippled through the alien crowd, growing in volume as their concerns over humanity's violent reputation built. Randy sensed the tide turning against him. He had to change tactics, fast. "You call us Deathworlders, but let me tell you about the world that forged us," Randy began, his voice steady. "Earth is a planet of extremes. In the Sahara, the largest hot desert on our world, temperatures soar to 130 degrees Fahrenheit, hot enough to cook flesh, yet we not only survive there but thrive." The aliens leaned forward, some with eyes wide, others with brows or similar appendages furrowed. Randy continued, hands gesturing for emphasis. "At the other end, in the frozen Arctic, the Inuit people carve out a life in lands that reach 60 below zero, Fahrenheit that is, cold enough to shatter steel. But they endure, as they have for generations." Fascinated murmurs rose from the gathered council members. Randy noted a few nods of grudging respect. Good, now he had their attention. "The Amazon rainforest teems with creatures that see humans as prey, venomous snakes that can kill with a single bite, spiders the size of dinner plates, fish that tear flesh from bone. Each day there is a struggle to survive, yet we do more than survive. We study, learn, grow, and build." Randy paused, meeting the eyes of various counselors. Some stared back with undisguised captivation. And the Australian outback, a searing furnace of a place, filled with more deadly creatures than nearly anywhere else on Earth. Humans live there too, and have for tens of thousands of years. By now the chamber was hanging on his every word. Time to drive the point home. Deathworld? No. Earth is a crucible, a forge. It's made us resilient, resourceful, ingenious. Those same qualities that kept us alive on Earth, we now bring to the stars. The tenacity that led our ancestors to build ocean-crossing ships, develop medicines to conquer plagues, construct craft to escape our own atmosphere. Randy felt the momentum shifting in his favor, but he still saw doubt in some faces, especially that hulking, scaled alien who first challenged humanity's intentions. He had one final card to play. Jackson, you asked about our wars, Randy said, turning to the Iridian. It's true, we fought each other for millennia. But we also learned, the hard way. Those wooden ships I spoke of. For a long time, we loaded them with weapons, sent them to destroy each other. But we haven't fought a real war, in over a century, because now we understand the terror of mutually assured destruction. The alien counselors traded uneasy glances. Randy felt his throat tighten. This was it, all or nothing. When you can destroy your enemy in a blink, but he can do the same to you, you learn that war is obsolete, that aggression is a loser's game. Instead, you build, you cooperate, you find common ground. That's why we're here. Not to conquer, but to contribute. Earth's greatest export is hard-won wisdom, and we offer it to you now, freely. The council chamber fell into stunned silence for a long, tense moment. Randy held his breath. Had he said too much? Pushed too far? Then, one by one, hands began to rise. Scaled hands, feathered hands, appendages he couldn't identify, but all raised in a clear gesture. A vote. Jackson rose, his blue face split by a wide, sharp-toothed smile. The council has reached a decision. Terra will be granted provisional membership, with an eye to full inclusion, should your conduct match Diplomat Bell's claims. Welcome to the Galactic community. Randy sagged with relief, barely remembering to offer a gracious nod to the assembled aliens. He'd done it, dispelled the misconceptions, set Earth on a path to peaceful integration among the stars. As the council began to file out, he turned to leave as well. But a rumbling growl stopped him cold. He turned to see the hulking alien counselor glaring down at him, anger still flickering in those magma-like eyes. "Do not get too comfortable, Deathworlder," the alien snarled. "We will be watching you very, very closely, and if you step 1 foot out of line, we will end you." With that he stormed out, leaving Randy alone in the cavernous chamber. The threat echoed in his mind. The council may have been swayed for now, but Earth was far from safe. This was only the beginning. Randy knew he had to act fast to regain control of the narrative. The council members were looking at him with a mix of suspicion and fear, and he could sense the tide turning against him once again. "You raise a valid point," Randy said, nodding to the green-skinned alien. "The Fermi paradox is a question that has puzzled humanity for generations, but I believe it's a question that we are uniquely positioned to answer." He took a step forward, his voice growing more confident. "You see, on Earth we have faced many of the same challenges that have led other civilizations to destroy themselves. We have grappled with the threat of nuclear annihilation, with the ravages of climate change, with the dangers of unchecked technological advancement." Randy paused, letting his words sink in. The council members leaned forward, their eyes locked on him. "But we have also learned from our mistakes. We have created organizations like the United Nations to promote peace and cooperation among nations. We have signed treaties to limit the spread of weapons of mass destruction. We have worked together to address global challenges like climate change, as evidenced by the Paris Agreement." He could see some of the council members nodding along, their expressions softening slightly, but the green-skinned alien was not convinced. "But what about the future?" it pressed. "How can we be sure that you won't revert to your old ways once you have spread throughout the galaxy?" Randy felt a bead of sweat trickle down his back. He knew that this was the moment of truth, the point at which he would either win over the council or lose them forever. "I understand your concerns," he said slowly, choosing his words with care, "but I believe that humanity has reached a turning point in our evolution. We have seen firsthand the consequences of our actions, and we have made a conscious choice to chart a different course." He gestured to the emblem of the Galactic Council, glowing softly above him. "By coming here today, by seeking membership in this esteemed body, we are declaring our commitment to peace, to cooperation, to the values that this council represents." The room fell silent, the weight of Randy's words hanging in the air. He could feel the eyes of every council member upon him, searching for any sign of deception or ulterior motive. And then slowly, almost imperceptibly, the atmosphere began to shift. The fear and suspicion that had permeated the room began to dissipate, replaced by a sense of cautious optimism. Randy let out a breath he hadn't realized he'd been holding. He had done it. He had convinced the Council that humanity was ready to take its place among the stars, not as conquerors, but as partners. But even as relief washed over him, Randy couldn't shake the feeling that this was only the beginning. The road ahead would be long and fraught with challenges, and there would be many more tests to come. As the Council members began to file out of the chamber, Randy caught the eye of the hulking alien, who had first challenged him. The creature's eyes still flickered with anger, but there was something else there too, a grudging respect, perhaps even a hint of fear. Randy met its gaze unflinchingly, a silent message passing between them. He knew that this alien and others like it would be watching humanity closely, waiting for any sign of weakness or aggression. But Randy also knew that he and his fellow humans would rise to the challenge. They had come too far, fought too hard to let this opportunity slip away. As he turned to leave the chamber, Randy couldn't help but smile. The future was uncertain, but one thing was clear. Humanity had taken its first step into a larger universe, and there was no turning back now. Randy paused, the weight of the Fermi paradox heavy in the air. He scanned the faces of the Council members, seeing a flicker of understanding dawn in their eyes. "The Great Filter," Randy began, his voice steady. "A theory that suggests there may be some insurmountable obstacle that prevents civilizations from reaching a certain level of technological advancement. It's a chilling thought, one that has haunted humanity for generations." The chamber was silent, hanging on his every word. Randy continued, "And then there's the zoo hypothesis, the idea that advanced civilizations may be observing us from afar, choosing not to interfere with our development, watching us like animals in a cosmic zoo." A shudder rippled through the gathered aliens. Randy sensed he had struck a nerve, tapped into a primal fear that transcended species. Emboldened, he pressed on. "But despite these unknowns, humanity has not been idle. We've sent the Voyager missions beyond our solar system, now traveling through interstellar space. The Hubble Space Telescope has captured images of galaxies and nebulae that have expanded our understanding of the universe, and the recent detection of gravitational waves has opened up entirely new avenues of cosmic observation." As he spoke, Randy noticed the atmosphere in the room shifting. Fear and suspicion gave way to curiosity, even a grudging respect. He had managed to convey the essence of humanity, a species grappling with the unknown, yet driven to explore and understand. Pride swelled in his chest as he prepared to step down from the podium, the future of Earth feeling a little more secure. But before he could, Jackson approached, his face grave. "I'm afraid we have some disturbing news," the Iridian said, his voice low and urgent. "We've just received word that a group of rogue Iridians has launched an attack on a human colony on the planet Kepler 186f. We need to act quickly to prevent this from escalating into a full-scale war." Randy felt his blood run cold. After all his efforts to establish peace, to demonstrate humanity's potential as an ally, was it all about to unravel? He locked eyes with Jackson, saw the fear and resolve warring there. In that moment, Randy knew what he had to do. He had to find a way to stop this attack, to prevent the fragile trust he'd built from shattering. The fate of not just Earth, but the entire galactic community now rested on his shoulders. Randy reeled back in shock, his face draining of color. "What? How many colonists are on Kepler 186f? Jackson's face twisted with worry. "Over 1,000 families, children." Randy gripped the podium, his knuckles white. 1,000 lives hanging by a thread. Because of him, because of his damn speech. The council erupted into a frenzy of shouts and accusations. The towering Clithrax representative slammed a claw on his bench. "This is what we warned you about. Humans bring only destruction." "We must respond with force," the avian councillor screeched. "Annihilate the extremists." "No," Randy shouted, finding his voice. "Violence will only breed more violence. We have to find a peaceful solution. Peaceful, the Clithrax snarled. Tell that to the colonists your kind has doomed. Jackson raised his four hands, calling for order. Arguing solves nothing. We must act, and quickly. His gaze fell on Randy. Thoughts, Terran? Randy swallowed hard, an idea forming. A terrible, wonderful, foolish idea. Let me go to them, to Kepler 186F. Let me talk to the extremists. Silence fell. Then a barking alien laugh. You, the human, they'll blast you out of the sky. No, Randy said, certainty hardening his voice. They'll want to talk. To tell me why I'm wrong, why humanity deserves to burn. He met Jackson's eyes. It's the only way. Murmurs rippled through the council. Jackson leaned in, voice low. Randy, I can't ask you to do this. It's suicide. You're not asking. I'm volunteering. Randy straightened his suit. I caused this. I need to fix it before 1,000 innocent lives are lost. The debates raged for hours. Military plans were drawn up and scrapped. Diplomatic channels were opened and shut. But in the end, there was only one path forward. Randy's path. The council provided a small unarmed shuttle. No weaponry, no defenses. Just a fragile bubble of metal and ceramics, barely fit for interstellar travel. Randy didn't care. All that mattered was getting to Kepler 186F. Getting to the colonists. The shuttle shuddered as it dropped out of warp, the glimmering oceans of Kepler 186F filling the view screen. Randy guided the nimble craft into a low orbit, scanning for the Iridian warship. There, a hulking mass of spines and guns bristling with menace as it hung above the helpless colony. Randy's mouth went dry. He was really doing this, flying an unarmed shuttle towards a dreadnought like a gnat before a lion. With a trembling hand, he opened a comm channel. This is Randy Bell of Terra, requesting to speak with the commander of the Iridian vessel. A crackle, a hiss, then a seething alien voice. Terran, you have gall, showing your face here. Randy licked dry lips. I'm here to talk, to understand. Nobody needs to get hurt. A barking, guttural laugh. Talk? You wag your tongue in lies, human. Your serpent speech drips with dishonor. Then let me prove my honor, Randy said, an idea sparking. Face me in person on the surface, hear my words, see my eyes. A long, static-filled pause. Randy held his breath. Very well, Terran, come and meet your doom. The comm snapped off. Randy exhaled shakily, piloting the shuttle into a descent. Rust-red rock and impact craters sprawled beneath him. Kepler 186F's barren landscape a world away from the lush jungles of Earth. But there, nestled in a crater, the colony. Habdomes clustered like eggs in a nest, solar panels glinting. Humanity's first foothold in the stars. And surrounding it, a ring of Iridian shuttles waiting for him. Randy sat down on the crater's rim, dust billowing around the landing gear. With a steadying breath, he cracked the hatch, the first human to walk the surface of Kepler 186F. He stepped out into the ruddy sunlight, wind whipping at his hair. A group of Iridians stood before him, plasma rifles leveled at his chest. Their blue skin rippled with hatred, forearms tense and ready. The commander strode forward, eyes flashing like lightning in a hurricane. Speak, human, before I lose my patience. Randy raised his open hands. I'm here to find a path to peace, one that avoids bloodshed on all sides. A hiss of disgust. Peace, you sully the word. Your species is a scourge, a plague to be cleansed. No, Randy said softly. We're more alike than you realize. We all fear the unknown. We all cherish our loved ones. We all want a better galaxy for our children. The commander snarled, fingers flexing on his rifle. But some of his soldiers shifted uneasily. Randy pressed on. We don't have to be enemies. Our worlds could be allies, partners in exploration, in pushing back the frontiers of knowledge. For a heartbeat, the commander wavered. The hate in his eyes flickered. Then a sharp crack split the air. Randy stumbled back, searing agony erupting between his shoulders. His legs crumpled, refusing to obey. He crashed to the rocky ground, tasting copper on his tongue. Plasma fire flashed above him, screams of rage and pain, the roar of shuttle engines. Randy lifted his head, vision blurring. Jackson's face swam into focus, horror and anguish etched across his features. "I'm sorry," the Iridian rasped. "I'm so sorry. This wasn't supposed to happen." "Not your fault," Randy whispered, each word a knife in his chest. "We have to keep trying, keep working for peace." Jackson clasped his hand as a chill seeped into Randy's bones, a coldness that had nothing to do with Kepler 186f's thin atmosphere. With a final rattling breath, Randy let his eyes fall closed. The last sensation to flicker across his fading mind was the ghost of a smile on his bloody lips. He had planted a seed this day, a fragile seed of understanding buried in tragedy and loss, but a seed that, if nurtured, if protected, might one day bloom into a great tree of harmony, a tree to shelter all the children of the stars. It would be up to others to tend that seed now, because for Randy Bell, the first human ambassador, the journey was over. But for humanity and the galaxy, it was just beginning. You have reached the end of the story. If you enjoyed this story and want to support us, please leave a like and subscribe to our channel, and for every comment that says 88, I will heart every single one of them. Thank you for your time.